Hi, folks. Welcome to another episode of the Soccer Waste podcast. Today, I'm joined by Rahul and Sankarsan.
Oh, hi.
And I guess so was
Hey guys.
Right. So, we all know football world was rocked 4 days back by a burofaxed transfer request sent by a certain Lionel Messi to the Barcelona hierarchy. Before we go into all that, how that transpired, I want to go back a few days before the conclusion of this year's Champions League. And at the semi-final stage, Barcelona was ripped apart ruthlessly by Bayern Munich in a 8-2 knockout round semi-final stage. What do you think was the aftermath of the Bayern result, Rahul?
The aftermath is very simple. As you can see, the whole football world is the whole social media world exactly. Not even the football. It has breached beyond football now. Everything's wrong because the great Lionel Messi will leave his legacy club of Barcelona, which I find very silly. So you are asking about why this transpired, right?
No, I wanted to ask you regarding the aftermath. What was the reaction of the Barcelona, the
Oh,
people
yes, right.
inside
Sorry.
Barcelona? It's a large footballing institution and it has
Right,
its
right.
culture, and conceding 8 goals, it should really hurt. So, what was their reaction? What do you think happened right after
Right, the
that match?
reaction. The reaction was pretty weird in my opinion. I expected some shuffling in their management level, but I did not expect the board to act the way it did, and as soon as it did. And seeing the reaction of the players, we can clearly see there is a super big divide between what the players want for the club and what the management wants for the club. The hiring of Conan is, I think, it's a very management-based decision, which the players didn't support. So that is the
Right.
final catalyst which lit the fire under Lionel Messi's chair, the final straw that broke the camel's back, which finally led to him saying, "Enough is enough. I have had enough with this bureaucracy and the 90s level politics that the Barca boat still runs on," and wanted to move to greener pastures, which might be Pep's Manchester City, but that's another topic altogether.
Right.
So,
Some of the decision right after the Bayern result was quite hilarious in my opinion. If at all it is true,
it's
the
true.
sacking of the coach is the process of sacking of the coach should be a little more respectful. At least he managed for a few days.
I
And how do you sack the person who sacked the
what
coach
my
right after?
That was very hilarious, actually. But the coaching Vade or the guy these people before, at least Coleman, I know him of him. He's a Barca proper pedigree player. He was the coach for Holland and all. At least he's a known figure. I could understand his hiring, but rest of the hirings don't even make sense. They are just place seater managers, which I feel like, and the whole thing is run behind or in cloaks and daggers by the management and the higher ups in Barca hierarchy, which Messi, I guess, was a part of. But I'm guessing he's having differences with the current ideas of the regime.
Coming back to Messi's transfer request, it certainly feels like the family's favorite child suddenly, packed his bags and wants to leave. What's going on in
Yeah,
his mind, do you
exactly.
think? What's going on in his head?
Let's get Shankarson's view on this.
uh, hey guys. So my thing was the immediate aftermath due to defensive failure and the attitude writing. But what didn't transpire properly was the fact that PK Setien, it's just a term called just a 6 months manager, was sacked like that. And then, first of all, his hiring didn't make sense. But then he was sacked like that. And then people like Abidal was fired, who had beef with Messi to make sense of it. But like it was all being scapegoats, and the board
Course,
never did issue
Coman's
their
hiring,
own
whether it will
apologies.
pay dividends, remains to be seen. But what do you think is going on inside
Koeman's hiring was
Messi's
a very
head?
professional, very bold decision, and the board then the way Koeman came into the Barca was not at all a good manager's side. I've
Do you
been
really
criticized
think you can call
Koeman
it
as a
a
manager too.
Barcelona board right now? I would rather call it Bartomeu because I don't think there is any board members
No, no,
remaining.
it's if you have to see how Barcelona works, Barcelona
It's
Bartomeu's
probably
whole
a
political party
Bartomeu and empty
is
chairs in the Barcelona boardroom right now.
No. That became due after Messi's announcement. But mainly Bartomeu is supported by a party, and that party does rule the board. So board cannot be consisting of only one single member. Party and their
Miss,
whole things were
I
initially they always wanted to keep the club, keep the market, the shareholders and everything, like the fans happy by big names and not contributing to the team which they required.
right.
A team's requirement and a
I
fans
hear you say
requirement has.
you're saying Messi's transfer request. What do you think is going on in his head right now? It's like he, since a 14-year-old, he has been inside Barcelona city, has been living there. It's probably his home. I see in most of his videos, he calls home as Barcelona, La Masia. What do you think made him? What's going on in his head right now after he has decided to take this step? What's going on inside him?
So what happened? What the things were transpired between the 8-2 defeat and the day Messi announced his Messi submitted his transfer request was mainly the thing that Koeman came in and he said he openly declared that he had no plans for
Right,
Vidal,
right.
Vidal, and had also he did
In short,
not
Messi's close friends inside the team.
properly.
Rakitic, I think Rakitic as
Not
well.
all, it's not all also close friends. He didn't properly communicate with other members too. So
Right,
Messi had did and then he communicated to Messi that he has lost all his privileges, which I don't think a player after giving so much of his clubs would take. Another thing that happened that nobody mentions
that's
is
right.
the
That's correct.
Barcelona board asked Messi to take two consecutive pay cuts, which Messi denied. So
Right, right, right.
that's
Of
another
course.
issue that forced him to put it. But let's be honest, for as a being a Barca fan and being a critic of Messi being a captain, this has been one of the rare occasions which has shown a form of captaincy and step forward for his team members that some things are not right. And his transfer, he knew he could have influenced something, or he should move away from the team as if his presence is causing it. And then he is taking the responsibility and he's moving forward with it, which rarely he did before. He was an escapist, but rather he's taking the responsibility and
Right,
moving forward. And
right,
I think that is another issue that goes in.
right. Now, we all have our opinion on the Bartomeu and his board through his tenure. But Rahul, what do you think? What do you think he can do to repair some damage before he actually leaves this board as a Barcelona chairman?
Barcelona is currently under more than 300 million euros of debt under
But I think
Bartomeu,
that depth will not
and
count because the FFP for next year might be suspended because of the pandemic. Every
but
club
even the
probably has
FFP is
huge
just
debts right
suspended.
now. Cannot really recover that depth. They don't really have the revenue even next year to recover that. That is more concerning, I believe.
Yeah, obviously that another issue with Bartomeu's tenure is he just has a few months left, which we won't have any proper transfer window as such. So even if he wants to do anything now, it's beyond his control. He has been at fault and it has been showing properly. So obviously, Messi leaving is something a change that Barcelona could never imagine, or it's a very drastic change as a whole. So things are very much up in the air for that part. But as of now, it's very hard for
Right,
Bartomeu to turn things around.
right. But Rahul, don't you think Bartomeu, even after all his faults and present day, of course, we all know what's happening, but don't you think Bartomeu has some highs in his tenure? He has, after all, made a record of 1 billion euro revenue for a football club, which was like a few years back unheard of. Even for a big club like Real Madrid, they probably never thought about going 1 billion euro revenue in a year. So that must be a high for Bartomeu. Don't you think, just looking at that, there might be some salvage operation remaining in his tenure, or do you think it's all over?
Now you're speaking in terms of a proper, say, understanding intellectual. The point is the whole media game, the whole idea, everything is run on perception now, and it's everything is volatile and everything is decisions are made at the tip of seconds. So now, since
Right,
the public
right,
perception of Bartholomew has turned into a villain, I'm guessing it will be very difficult for him to go for deal.
Right. Okay.
Pragmatic uh, questions will not be asked at this point of the time for his survival. Even though I'm sure he has done a lot for the club.
He has probably, considering, of course, he has done some, as you said, the media has made a, but
Mockery out of the whole issue.
yes,
One
but
of the more issues is, see, he doesn't, no director would want the blood of Messi in their hands. So yeah, if you are if you are being the president, that you are the prison that Messi is living your club, nobody wants that. That's a huge
right,
black hole
right.
in his term too. So
That's
that is why
probably the
another thing
final
that he
nail
has,
in the coffin.
yeah, final nail in his coffin. That yeah, even if you have brought forward 1 billion profit, you have lost Messi, the main player in which we
Yeah,
profited. So if you're
that's right.
losing
That's
our major asset and then gaining money is not a good financial planning in any way.
right, right. Nothing, in your opinion, nothing can balance out Messi leaving, even if the club is generating revenues here to unheard of. Nothing can balance that.
So club's
Because
revenue another revenue generation comes from its players. There comes from its players, comes from the stadiums, and who all depends on the players and how the club play. So if they are not caring about the and they're taking care of the corporate and it is a plus.
I'm still doubtful about the whole idea.
Now the
Messi.
Yeah, Rahul, what about Messi?
Yeah. Yeah. So I still doubt that he's going to leave Barcelona because I'm a fair weather fan for the Barca games. Right. I don't really know the inner runnings of their politics or anything. So it's
Right,
be very difficult for me to
right.
realistically comment on the whole idea. But I still feel that I don't think he's leaving.
Right, right. The idea of Barcelona without Messi is so very difficult to digest. Even if you're the worst critic of Barcelona, it's difficult to digest. All right, guys, thank you for your opinions and your valuable inputs. So, to conclude, Barcelona hierarchy and all the socios of this famous club are between a rock and a hard place right now. And we just hope that Messi does not leave and so we have a better turn of events from here. Right, first, thank you for that. This is it for this episode of Soccer Ways podcast. Hope you enjoyed it. See you next time.